Israel has carried out more strikes targeting Hezbollah in Beirut's southern suburbs. The army had issued an immediate evacuation order for residents in the area. Israeli forces have also launched a series of airstrikes into southern Lebanon. Earlier, Israel had ordered tens of thousands of residents in dozens of villages there to leave. Hezbollah struck Israel in response to the assassination of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei on Saturday. And let's go to Heidi Pett, who's monitoring the situation. So, Heidi, it looks like there is dark smoke rising from one of those neighborhoods. From your vantage point, is that a new strike or something else that we're seeing there?
So the dark smoke that's been rising this morning over Beirut is actually further towards the north in downtown, and we've spoken to civil defence this morning. They say that's actually just a regular fire in Dakwana, but obviously, the level of nervousness about plumes of smoke over the city is very high at the moment, and you can probably see just behind me there is a little bit of smoke still hanging over the southern suburbs, which are in the background here, which did see a number of strikes overnight by the Israeli military. There were at least 4. Now, some of those were targeting buildings that were the subject of forced evacuation orders by the Israeli military, but a number of them came with no warning at all. And these have not been the only strikes overnight here in Lebanon. There were a number of strikes across the south, including a village near the city of Sur. And unusually, we saw a strike in the far north of Lebanon in its second largest city, Tripoli, targeting a Palestinian refugee camp it's a long-standing refugee camp, been there for decades. Local sources inside that camp told us that a Hamas official and his wife were killed. Lebanese health authorities have confirmed that 2 people were killed and 1 person was injured in that strike, which very much does look like it was a targeted assassination. It came with no warning and destroyed just 1 apartment on 1 floor of the apartment building in that refugee camp in Tripoli.
Okay, so we're watching these strikes happening across the country from the air. There are also Israeli boots on the ground in southern Lebanon, in some cases several kilometers inside of the border. And yesterday, the Lebanese president, Joseph Aoun, called on the United States to intervene, to try to stop this assault from the Israelis. Are there any indications at all at this stage that the U.S. is likely to heed those calls and do something to try to pump the brakes on this?
I mean, nothing here on the ground that would confirm that the US is putting pressure on the Israelis to cease these ground invasions or this incursion into southern Lebanon. We do understand, yes, that the Israelis have further advanced. So since the ceasefire in November of 2024, the Israelis actually continued to hold 5 positions inside Lebanon in contravention of that agreement. But we know that in the last 24 hours, they have further advanced into several locations. Hezbollah has issued a number of statements this morning saying that they had directly engaged Israeli troops on the ground. They're saying that they confirmed casualties. We haven't had confirmation of that from the Israeli side just yet. But the question here in Lebanon is, what role will the Lebanese army actually play? Yesterday, they withdrew from a number of positions. They said that, they're not withdrawing from the south. They wanted to make that very clear. They were just repositioning some troops for safety. They've been moving a few things around. But the Lebanese army themselves has admitted that they have limited capacity to counter Israel. And that is the sort of raison d'etre of Hezbollah, which is one of the armed factions in the Lebanese civil war. And it was the only one that was allowed to maintain its weapons at the end of that war. And that was for the exact objective of countering Israel. And so we're now seeing this tension between the Lebanese government, the Lebanese state, and its prime minister, who has outlawed the military and security activities of Hezbollah. A number of people were arrested yesterday for trying to take weapons down towards the south. And so the question remains exactly whether there'll be a confrontation or further tension between the Lebanese government and Hezbollah.
All right, Heidi Pett for us there in Beirut. Please keep us posted.